every time I've made a major decision in life, if I've tried to put God's will first, not knowing what that meant, but at the time, that was at least the effort. That's where my heart was.
Yeah.
It's led to an opportunity every time, without fail.
Hey, welcome to this episode of the God Seeker Podcast. It's so great to have you today. My name's Joe Martin Jr., and my guest today is Mike Levkulich. Mike, it's so great to have you. I've been waiting on this moment, been excited about this moment, and really happy that you're here to join us. Thanks for being here.
I'm honored to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Mike and I know each other because Mike and I go to the same church together, and so his testimony and the call of God on his life and some of his history, I think, will be very encouraging to those of you that are listening, and particularly those of you that are business people, called to business. You know, Mike, I've always thought that the call of God to business is just as holy as the call of God to ministry, as the call to God to the arts, as the call of God to science, education, you know, because we're talking about the kingdom.
Yeah.
And God's calling is for us to make disciples in all the world.
You're interacting with people either way.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and you're going to be touching people that would never maybe come into a church.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that calling is holy, and I want to talk to you about that. But first, what I really want to get to is just your upbringing and where you're from, and a little bit about your parents, your siblings, and your life.
Well, I'm from the Northeast. As you can probably hear, I'm not from Texas. But
that's okay. We forgive that.
My whole family's from just outside of Pittsburgh. I grew up moving around a little bit. My dad was, as long as I've been alive, my dad was a pastor. Yeah. So we moved a little bit around Pennsylvania.
Now, hang on just a minute. Yeah. Pittsburgh, you're not a Steelers fan, are you?
Oh, that's all black and yellow.
Yeah.
All sports are black and yellow in our house.
Yeah.
My entire family. So both sides. Everyone's been from small town outside of Pittsburgh. Everybody's, you know, it's diehard Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
When we moved around a little bit, we've always kind of gone to smaller towns around Pennsylvania. But I grew up a pastor's kid, and I mean, for me, that was an interesting experience in itself. But then my high school years, we were in Northeast Pennsylvania, so Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, that area. And then after that, I ended up going to college in Penn State and stayed in Pennsylvania. So the majority of everything through college was in Pennsylvania. Yeah. And then from there, started branching out around.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to then your early upbringing. Your dad's Assembly of God pastor, I think.
He was, yeah. He just recently retired.
Okay, good for him. Yeah. Pastors get to do that?
You think, kind of.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I think he still struggles with that a little bit. There's always opportunities to keep helping in different ways, but he did. He retired a few years ago.
And where do you fall? You have siblings, right?
I do. I have my two older sisters are 5 and 7 years older than me. So I'm the youngest by a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're almost an only child there for a while, weren't you?
I mean, never felt like that, but I know what you mean. And it's me being the youngest. I'm also by a lot the tallest. Yeah. My whole family's fairly short.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of funny, but it's a very close family. All of us get along really well. Even though my sisters were older than me, you know, they were out of the house by the time I got to high school. So a little bit of a different experience.
Nephews and nieces?
I have a few, yeah. Through my wife has a few as well, but I've got a niece and nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're raised in a pastor's home. How was that for you?
Well, I mean, I grew up going to a Christian school as well, so I was around a lot of other pastors' kids. I knew a bunch of them. I think there's a level, at least my experience was that it's a little bit of a level like an experience like a glass house. Like as a pastor's kid, I felt like you kind of learn very quickly that you're a little bit on display, whether you like it or not, and your life ends up being viewed from other people in the church. Yeah, I hesitate to say judged, but you know, it is what it is. It's people will, but the step that it takes to is that you get to a point where you realize that whether you can help it or not, somebody will judge something and it affects your parents. Yeah. So it's not just you, it affects the family and affects your parents. So I would call it a luxury of seeing that from my older siblings. and seeing that from other people that I was around, that I knew at a pretty young age what I was walking into
Yeah.
and what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents had a very, very good reputation with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And our house was, the way my parents were in the church is exactly the way they were at home.
Yeah.
There was no difference.
Yeah.
They were the same.
Yeah.
And I always respected that. And they always had a very good reputation with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew at a pretty young age that even if we didn't see eye to eye on everything, I knew how to be respectful of their reputation no matter what.
Yeah. I think that's so critical, having raised, 2 kids as PKs, is that, they can smell hypocrisy 100 miles away, right? I mean, you can smell it. And so we really thought, authenticity was a big thing.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. And we also recognized that though we were called to the ministry, they maybe were not.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to push them into the ministry.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys especially church planners, assume that their oldest child or one of their children will take over the church one day.
Yeah.
We never assumed that.
That's why I feel like I've been attracted to you and Pastor Nancy as well, is because you guys are the same way. You're authentic, the same in church, out of church. I've never seen any difference. And it was the same with my parents. My dad never, put it on me to force me to be in the church, take a leadership role. It was more about what's your walk with God, like stressing a godly lifestyle. And then beyond that, on the personal side, I mean, again, we come from a blue collar family. So it was more about whatever you can do, keep pushing until you can, you're at your limit, your absolute best.
Yeah.
And he would never let me stop until that happened.
Yeah.
So
never
it was
give
more
up
on that side.
Yeah. Never give in, never give up, never go back.
There's no compromise.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's sort of how we raised our kids too. Is that, hey, Jesus is the standard.
Yeah.
And so with him the standard, we're all short, right? We all fall short. So, but we want to get as close to him as we can get, and authentically have an authentic relationship with him. Love the Lord. Yeah,
that's right.
And know him and love him. So you grew up like that. Did you play sports?
I did. That was pretty much my life too.
Yeah.
So I actually, when we moved to Wilkes-Barre, there was a small Christian school that I went to school to until I was in 7th, 8th grade. And then my parents decided educationally that there was a better route. They got introduced to a bunch of homeschoolers through sports. And then they'd made the decision to homeschool me in high school. So not only am I PK, but I'm also homeschooled way before it was
cool.
COVID. Yeah, cool to be. Way before that. So it was different. But since I had played sports, I still had that whole social side. If it wasn't for that, it would have been a very different experience.
Yeah.
But since I still had that, I played basketball all through high school heavily.
Yeah. And
that pretty much kept the social side of it, which helped quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then it also gave other opportunities at the time where I could work full time. So, I was afforded to be able to have money for myself to go out and have fun with friends.
Yeah.
Because I was homeschooled technically. Yeah. So it wasn't really a hindrance for me.
Yeah.
But at the time that was a tough conversation.
Yeah.
But they treated me like an adult and said, look, this is why we want to make this decision for you. Here's the opportunities you can have. Let's talk about, what some of the hindrances can be. And we had a good conversation about it, and it was fine. And it's honestly, it never really hindered me from anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when there was a conflict with your sports and church, how did y'all handle that?
That's where the no compromise comes into play.
Yeah.
It was a standing rule.
Yeah.
It didn't really come, if I still went and played for that Christian school for a few years, and the way it works in Pennsylvania, I don't know if it's the same in Texas, but in Pennsylvania, if you're a homeschooler, you have the right to play for a public school, your public school district, or any private school, but they don't have to let you.
Right.
It's up to them in the end.
Yeah.
So the Christian school I played for, they weren't going to say anything because 3 of their starting 5 were homeschoolers, so that was fine.
Yeah.
It was the large public school, it was a quad A school that my senior year I ended up playing for them, and it all worked out naturally. We all played in the summer league, and then got to know all the people that played for that school, and they were the ones that actually went to their coach and said, "Hey, he's a homeschooler, but we always play with him. Can't he just come play with us?" And so that opened a door for me to come play for a large public school. As far as I know, I'm the only homeschooler that's ever played there.
Wow.
But God opened doors in ways that, like I said, it didn't hinder me. I was always able to go have that side and have fun with people. That's kind of the way it always went too. It wasn't always surrounded by my friends weren't all Christian.
Yeah.
That just wasn't the way it was.
Yeah.
Which is also why I was a little guarded. I knew what people would say about that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, they were just my friends. Like, we all got, when you play sports with each other, you create a camaraderie that's just different. It doesn't matter where you're from or anything else, or your status or anything. And
in fact, it turns out to be the most important part of it, right? The camaraderie.
That's where I started. That's what I got used to.
What happens in the locker room?
It was that. It was sports, and it was working hard, like physical labor, hard work.
Yeah.
And if you could work hard and you could play sports to a certain level, nothing else ever mattered.
Yeah.
You can get along with anybody.
Yeah. And look, I mean, you did well. I mean, you're an architect today, so I mean, that's they don't give those degrees away. You felt fully prepared when you got to college?
I think. Technically, I went from 1 to, like, at Penn State, there was like 50, 60,000.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really much of a culture shock for me because, again, like, I got used to being around other people. I have seen other homeschoolers struggle with that, just kind of breaking out of that shell. For me, that wasn't quite the case. For me, it was more about staying focused. Because once you transition from high school to college, you are your own person, or at least you're starting to be. And you're out from underneath the wings of your parents and that overview. And then you got to make your own decisions. And you have to motivate yourself. There's nobody else pushing you. So that was a little bit of transition for me. But outside of that, no, I had no issues going to there. And it's my thing. I thought I was going to be either an architect or an engineer of some sort. I took one of those assessment tests in high school. Everybody's story is different. But for me, it came back off the charts, landscape architecture.
Wow.
I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And then I did a little research into it. Penn State, not too far away from me. They were a top 5 school at the time, and applied, got in.
Yeah.
And I didn't even totally know what I was getting into, but the doors just kept opening pretty easily, and it all worked out so far.
Yeah, I know, back in the day, I think parents who homeschooled their kids were kind of looked at, well, like, what are you doing? I mean, you don't know what you're doing. But I found just the opposite was really true. We've got a family in our church who they homeschooled all 4 of their kids.
Yeah.
And for all 12 years.
Yeah.
And the oldest got a full scholarship to Stanford.
That's impressive.
The next one is in the honors program at the University of Texas.
That's impressive.
And so, they were super equipped and super ready to go when school started.
Yeah.
And they tested amazingly high, obviously. But yeah, I think nowadays homeschool cooperatives.
Yeah, there's a lot more resources.
A lot more, exactly.
Than there was back then. Honestly, I think my parents did, looking back at it now. At the time, I may have wished it would have been a little bit different, but honestly, I think they did the best. They made the best call they could in the time, and it turned out fine.
It seems like we homeschooled for a while. We used that Abeka curriculum, and it was kind of a self administered stuff. The kids
you do kind of have to be self motivated too.
Yes,
you kind of do.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so too.
If you're not, then you're by yourself technically in that environment, so you don't have other people around you pushing you, comparing to any of that kind of stuff. So you kind of have to be a little bit self-motivated, I believe. Yeah. And my parents are pretty motivated too, so that helps. Yeah. They're pretty driven.
And how about, did you have a girlfriend in high school? Or you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I had she played basketball at the time too. Yeah. She was probably the star basketball player on the other team, on the female side. Yeah. She had a scholarship to play at a AA school in college in Pennsylvania. She was very good. Yeah. So we dated for quite a while throughout my senior year of high school and then beginning of college. Yeah. That ended up ending because the spiritual side came into play on that. Yeah. And she wasn't a Christian, but I was. And there was a conflict there. Yeah. Got along for a long time, but it came to a head where there was a choice. Yeah. 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 That's happened a few times. Yeah. 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 Well, tell us about that. Well, I think for my life, I've always had this, it's never been just friends in the church and that's it. It's just not the way it worked out. I didn't really seek it out one way or the other. It's just kind of the way it happened. Mostly through sports and through work. And in that area too, I think it's a little bit different. I didn't know this at the time, but the Northeast and Pennsylvania are definitely a little bit different than Texas. There aren't almost limitless options of Protestant and non-denominational churches up in that area. So I think you're faced with a little bit of a different set of circumstances when you are making friends.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my friends throughout high school and college just happened to be, I had friends that were Christians,
Mm-hmm.
but our church wasn't that big and there weren't a lot of people my age.
Right.
So in the end, you start finding friends and developing relationships with people outside of it.
Yeah.
And it was fine. It's just you quickly realize in high school and then in college especially, you're gonna be faced with decisions, and you got to make your own decisions on if you're gonna have a set of rules that you're gonna stick by or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna be tested on those, I would say. And it started in high school, and then for me, it obviously transitioned to college too, where those friends don't have the same set of values as you, but you get along because they understand that you're a good person, and you have some things that you're relatively close on, like playing basketball or something like that. But there's limits to it. And then as long as you can create a set of standards where everybody knows there's lines I just won't cross, and as long as you can respect that, then we're cool, we're fine. Nobody has ever given me a problem about it. There's always people, what actually happens is people would ask questions about it constantly. And I would tell them the truth. So I never really had to, I never really outwardly witnessed to them as soon as I met somebody. I knew the question was going to come sooner or later is, well, why don't you do that? And then I would just tell them the truth. And most of the time, whether we agreed or not, most of the time it was just a good conversation, and then they understood, and that was it.
Yeah.
Nobody ever bugged me about it.
Yeah. Don't you think part of that, though, is just being an athlete, too? I mean,
It is.
Because a lot of kids don't have that.
There's some of that, yeah. The difference, though, is I think in college, that transitions.
That's right.
Because the athlete part, everyone's a decent athlete in high school. And you get to college, there's another level. And then beyond that.
Or two.
Yeah. So I think when you get to college, there's a lot of people that are athletic, but then it has to come down to social constructs then. It's not just physical. So I think that's when it gets tested, where you're around a whole lot of people that are your age and they just want to have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's maybe a little more challenging to stick to your standards or not. So
if I'm out there listening to you and I'm a homeschool parent of teenagers, what advice do you give them about dating, about girls, boys? What do you tell them?
I think my answer would have been different 10 years ago versus now. I think 10 years ago I would have said, there's certain things to watch out for, or there's way more now to look out for than there was when I was in high school and college. But now I think I would actually kind of turn around and say a little bit, like parents, I feel like do the best that they can. And looking back now, I understand more of my parents. I know why they kept certain standards, maybe a little bit more strict than I kept myself to. But now I understand why some of those standards were in place, and their job was to create an environment that was the best possible job they could do for me to grow up in a godly lifestyle and see what that meant. And then their relationship is on then for show for me to learn from of how they have a relationship with God, so that I can grow up and be a godly man. I think that now, I didn't know that at the time, and I do. The only thing I would say now is that even if somebody's, even if your son or your daughter's not on the same page with a parent, it's okay. Just don't change, don't compromise. Because I think no matter if you're a pastor's kid or not, and you're aware you're going to church, sooner or later you're faced with a decision that you got to make on your own and say, I'm going to live this way, and I know why now for me, not for my parents, not for the church, the optics of it. I'm going to live this way for me, and now this is my standard, this is my testimony. Now I'm going to own it. Everyone has that point. I believe everybody gets to that point where they got to make that call.
Well, that's maturity, right? Is taking responsibility for your life.
And it might hit it at different times, but that was a very real experience for me. And for me, it happened in college. Yeah. Where I felt like now these people don't know who my parents are. They don't know where I came from when they meet me. They don't know any of that stuff. Right. They just see me maybe not drink, or they see me not speak a certain way or act a certain way in different things, not treat people the same way. But I'm cool to talk to. We can go play basketball. We can go lift, work out, whatever that stuff is. We can go I can be a good time to be around no matter what, in any environment. But there's just certain things I won't do. And then when they see that, they'll be like, well, wait, why is that? Why won't you do that? Like, okay, well, here's how, this is why. and I've made this I have this relationship, and I've made this commitment, and there's standards there's lines I just can't cross.
Yeah.
And then it just grows into a conversation. But I learned that in college, where you got to own it for yourself now.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with your parents.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of liked that, because now there's no repercussion. Even if I do make a mistake, it's not on my parents. That bugged me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, I just think that taking responsibility for your life, your decisions, your relationships, that really is a big step towards maturity, is learning how to do that. And I think that is something that parents should teach, is personal responsibility.
Yeah.
You can't really lead anything till you learn how to lead yourself.
Yeah.
And so I know that my parents, I wasn't homeschooled. I went to, homeschooling was unheard of way back when I was there. But what my parents did, I thought was genius, is my parents always, they always started off with trusting me. And that lasted until I proved that I was not trustworthy.
Correct.
So they didn't start the other way. You're untrustworthy.
Yeah.
They started, well, we believe you're trustworthy.
Yeah.
We believe we can trust you. Yeah.
There were certain things that, were an absolute no, don't even ask. But it was the same. Unless I'd created a situation where I now changed that. Until then, they trusted me.
Yeah. And so I think that gave me really a confidence, and helped me on the path to really becoming more mature, because I did lots of things that would have violated their trust had they just known about it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, really seeing that, you don't want to have a duplicitous relationship with your parents. You want to be, straight up with them. But, and I never lied to them, but I just maybe didn't tell them the whole truth sometimes.
Well, I would say the same for me. I don't know that I told every detail about everything either. But I felt the same way with my parents. And then beyond that too, I felt like I was put in a situation where I knew where I was around me and my environment around me, and what the consequences were if I did mess this up.
I see, to me, what I see the biggest issue is that parents these days are trying to be their kid's best friend.
Yeah. Well, that's why I agree. And I don't have any kids at the moment, so I try not. There's so many different ways I feel like you can do it. It's different.
Well, as men, I mean, I think, they need to have a father.
I agree.
Right? I mean, and, a father who loves them, who speaks life into them, prophesies over them, encourages them, supports them, affirms them, confirms them, but also has the ability to adjust them.
Agree.
Even when it's not comfortable.
I would say for my dad and I have a really good relationship. We always have. And I think that stemmed the most from the fact that two things. One is that he was 100% reliable. He was always, if I needed something, I knew I could call my dad. And I think the second thing is that he was consistent. He wasn't my best friend. I wouldn't call my dad my best friend. I would call my dad, my father. And I know what that means to be that, because he was that example. So
I had a little healthy fear of my father. It wasn't, not that he would be violent or, going to whip me or spank
I know
me.
exactly what you mean.
But just that look, of disappointment.
100%.
I do not want 100%. Him to be disappointed with me.
Oh yeah, 100%. And and then it grew from that to when I was in high school and college. I had a whole bunch of physical labor stuff, like a whole bunch of random jobs. So the other key component, if you don't know me until you understand my parents' work ethic, it's unbelievable.
That's right.
So my whole family has it. Both of my sisters are very hard workers. They're very good at what they do. They're very talented. But that all comes, I think, from my parents. And there was you just always knew. Since we were little, we were taught to work, get after it. And they set that standard, never stopped. We used to work together. And then once my dad and I worked together too, he bailed me out of a whole bunch of stuff when I was in high school stuff. I was doing random jobs and projects for people. And there's an even stronger relationship there. Now you're working together. But it's different when you're literally And especially if it doesn't really matter if it's physical or not, but ours was.
Yeah.
There's like a level to that. You're really working hard and you're sweating next to each other. And there is something to that.
There is something to that because it creates an environment where you can talk.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And we did.
Yeah, you don't have to look eye to eye because you're nailing something or you're cutting
100%.
something. You don't have to look eye to eye, but you can talk.
Yeah.
And, you know, my dad and I did we had a farm and had cattle, beef cattle, and so fences had to be fixed periodically. So I'm working with my dad fixing barbed wire fences to keep our cattle in.
Yeah.
And, man, we're together all day long.
That's right.
And so, you know, we got a chance to talk, to visit.
Yeah.
And I think what that modeled for me is what our relationship with God ought to be like.
I agree.
And is that God, our Father, is at work. And when we join Him where He's working, we have an opportunity for fellowship with Him that you can't have otherwise.
I agree. There's something about either sharing a meal or working together. It just creates an environment to grow a relationship.
That's right.
Unlike anything else.
That's exactly right.
And I think that, especially physical labor for me, it started when I was 15. That was my first full-time job. I was a caretaker of a large estate it was called Bishwind. It was in Bear Creek in the Poconos. And that led to another job. That led to another job all around the same time, part-time for all of them. But for me, it ended up, I was going to school, but I was working 40 hours a week.
Wow.
So I would go and people thought we were crazy, but my dad would help me too. So we would do school in the morning, first thing for a couple hours. We would go, there was another guy that we would split wood for. These are massive, massive trees. It literally is about as wide as this table. And you would cut them up and you'd go on this wood splitter and you'd just be lifting logs on the splitter all day. And so it was $10 an hour, and we would go and split wood for a few hours. So I'd be on the wood pile, and then I'd go to a basketball game in the afternoon, and then do it all again the next day. And so we always had that kind of stuff. It got to a point too where there's a healthy understanding of life too, and what it means to work for something.
That's right.
So we would start to look at things that, maybe you're looking at something to purchase. Yeah. Well, now I'm looking at it saying, well, how many hours on the wood pile does it take to get that? Yeah. So it set a standard for me that I don't think I've really changed from.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I feel sad for people who didn't have that background because you just missed out on a lot.
Yeah. I can maybe say that now, but at the time, man, we did some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's transition now. So you get in college at Pennsylvania State University, the Nittany Lions.
That's right.
And so you show up there your freshman year. How do you decide what you're going to study?
For mine, it's when I got accepted into landscape architecture at the time, it was a 5-year program, and it was pretty well laid out. So you already kind of knew what you were doing almost every year, every semester. In your 4th year spring semester, you spent time in Italy as a semester abroad, which for us was a crazy experience. And then by your 5th year, for us, it was just a bachelor's degree, but it was a fairly intense program. So it was pretty well laid out for me. Every year we learned a different aspect of what that profession meant. There's a lot of different ways you can go within landscape architecture. And I just kept eating it up. Like every year I kept learning a different section, a different area of expertise within this profession. And I think I fell in love with it. Like each year is a little bit different and just kept growing.
You go on just about any major college campus that has a school of architecture. That's the only building that's lit up on Christmas Eve.
There's a lot of that, yeah.
And New Year's Eve, and it's the only one. 24/7, 365 days a year.
Penn State's too a school. It's not. There's other schools like this too, where it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
State College is a cool town, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So you're really only around. There's no city next to you sharing time. You're really only around like 50, 60,000 other kids around your age. So it's not terrible. It's a great place. It's a lot of fun, but it's crazy. And then especially during football season, it's nuts. So it was a good time. I enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, wow. And so you have a great college experience. You graduate with a degree.
Yeah.
In architect. Do you have to go back and get a master's degree?
You don't have to.
Yeah.
It's all over the map now, but there's some schools still that actually don't even have a bachelor's and they just offer a master's. Some do both. Penn State has both.
Yeah.
In order to get into the profession, you don't really have to have a master's. The bachelor's totally fine.
Yeah.
Then you're in the profession. Then it
Yeah.
really from there depends on which way you want to take it.
Right.
You can go institutional as well and become professor and all that kind of stuff, where that may require a master's. But to actually practice landscape architecture, just a bachelor's.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's a whole licensure process, just like an architect or an engineer.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
But that's more down the line in practice.
So you loved it. You're thrilled.
I did.
You're happy. You're fulfilled. Where's your first job?
So there was a guy by the name of Tom Bauer who ended up becoming my first mentor in the profession. He's the one who recruited me. Actually, my best friends, when our fourth year, I think, my best friend came up to me, and we have these career days like you do now all the time. We had a career day just for our profession. He came up to me with this plot, this scheme, and it's a pretty good story. He was like, man, what are you gonna do this summer? And my parents didn't believe in going into debt, so I had to work in the summer in order to have enough money in order to come back. That's just the way it worked. So I told him that. I was like, man, I got to work. I'm going to go back and do construction or whatever else. And he was like, what if there's this firm coming in called Melillo and Bauer that's from Point Pleasant, New Jersey. And one of our roommates lives in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. What if we went and go interviewed with them, get internships, and then go live with Brad and his parents in New Jersey? I was like, well, have you talked to Brad about this? And he's like, no. I was like, have you talked to anybody about this? No. I was like, sounds like a great idea, but that's not happening. That's not realistic at all.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we went, talked to them, interviewed, and then they came back and told us that they were just hiring one person. So our scheme was to do everything together so that they couldn't put one above the other. We literally, if one of them called us, we would put them on speaker and talk to them together and give them a voicemail back. If one emailed, we'd copy each other and take turns emailing back. Even when we went and interviewed in person, we did it back to back on person. And it worked, actually. The whole thing worked.
Wow.
They came back and Bauer told us, he's like, I couldn't choose between the two of you, so you're both here if you want a job. And it just so happened that Brad's dad, we call him Mr. C, the Szynskis, they became like second parents to me. They literally opened up their house and they were like, I don't think you're going to get these jobs, but if you do, you can stay with us for the summer. It ended up being like a movie. Like, it was exactly, we literally spent the summer at the beach, and that was my first job. And then from there, Tom recruited me out of school to work for him. So I went back to Point Pleasant as my first job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
2007.
2007. So
when we graduated, you could throw a dart and a map, get a job anywhere.
Wow.
And then within about 8 months, that all changed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that?
The whole economy collapsed in like 2008.
That's right.
And when that recession, and when that happened,
all the jobs
all
fell
of
through.
us, and it's a lot of what we do is economy driven.
Yeah.
So it's all about development and different sectors of development. But if there's nothing being developed and there's no construction, then we don't have a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
And so right out of school, that humbled me out of the gate. Like, you think you've got goals and all that stuff, and then right out of the gate, that came through, and that firm went from a certain amount of people down to less than half of that within the first year or two.
Yeah.
And so you don't know. You don't know what your future's going to end up being, but that was a good wake-up call right out of the gate. But I didn't lose my job. I ended up going through, and it actually opened up more doors. It's my experience. I ended up working hand in hand with Tom right out of the gate, and then, like I said, he's an amazing landscape architect, and he was a great mentor for me.
What kind of projects were y'all working on?
He did mostly, it was public and private, but for the most part, it was private development, meaning anything from multifamilies, apartment complexes, to parks, rooftops. Most of the development especially North Jersey and New York City, is going to end up being elevated, meaning like your amenities are on a rooftop. The land is so expensive that it's hard to waste valuable land on the ground for the amenities. So most of the time, all of our stuff was elevated on a rooftop. And they were a very well respected firm for 40 years when I was there.
Oh, wow.
So he taught me a ton, and he's a legendary landscape architect in that state. And man, I learned a lot from him. So all that type of development, one of the things he did the best was how to deal with clients and how to read people and be flexible, be able to adapt and change. He was extremely good at that.
Okay, let's talk about this, because there are undoubtedly young professionals that are listening, and so how did I get a break like that?
Yeah.
That was a real break.
It did. It kind of, so even when I was set to not go back to New Jersey. I thought I was for sure going to go to a different place. I didn't want to go back to New Jersey. But for me, the way it worked out is I kept praying about an open door and a closed door. if it's not the right spot, I only wanted to go where I thought God wanted me to go. And it very much worked out that it was kind of like a God moment where how I got back to New Jersey. The other firm I was interested in was out of Florida, and they did not get back to me until too late. And it got to a point where I felt like there was a couple other people that were going to take the opportunity at Malone and Bauer. And so I ended up praying about it again that night, and then called them, left them a voicemail, didn't get a hold of them until the very next week. They called back and said, yep, you were the first one on our voicemail. The people behind you did respond, but after you, so you're welcome back.
Yeah.
And then all the doors opened up for me to be there.
Yeah.
So that was first of like actually figuring out where to go in all these places that you don't really know when you're outside of school. But I do feel like God opened up doors to put me in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And then once I figured I was there, yeah, that recession was wild to go through. So that you don't know if it gets to a point where every Friday there's people being laid off.
Yeah.
So, and you think you're next. And it got to a point where we went up and talked to him too, like, hey, we're signing a lease. Am I here next month or am I not?
Yeah.
We had a good enough relationship where I just went and asked.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, as far as I know, man, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
He stuck to it. So he stuck to his word about everything. He made good and everything. And then it did end up, there was an opportunity through it. A lot of people that were older than me and have more experience ended up having to go for different reasons or got out of the profession entirely. And that opened up a door for me to be a project manager or more exposure to not just the owners, but more deals on projects, more clients, all that kind of stuff.
And what I've noticed about you, even to today, is you have a tremendous favor on your life. God's favor is on your life.
Sure.
And most people out there probably think, well, what did he do? It's like transactional. You did this, and then God gave you favor.
Yeah.
You did that, and God gave you favor. I don't see that at all.
I don't think so.
Because I think the favor of God started way back in junior high, high school, when you began to develop your character in such a way that it was pleasing to God. Not that you were perfect,
Sure.
but you decided you wanted to please God from early on. You decided you wanted to be where God wanted you to be. And there was a level of surrender in your life that made it possible for God to lead you and guide you. And as he led you and guided you, you experienced his favor.
Well, you're absolutely right that I wasn't perfect at all, not even close. But I think you're right to a degree looking back at it. I think part of it is that I knew I had some strong parents praying over me.
Yeah.
And I believe that part of whatever favor I've received is partially because of that too, on their behalf. I also think that, I think that in my experience, the decisions or let's say putting God's will first in some of those major decisions has always led to an opportunity every single time. Over 20 years now.
Whoever's listening out there right now needs to hear that.
Yeah.
Say that one more time.
That's true. I think in my life, at least, that's all I can speak to. Every time I've made a major decision in life, and we'll talk about this more, but it's if I've tried to put God's will first, not knowing what that meant, but at the time, that was at least the effort. That's where my heart was.
Yeah.
It's led to an opportunity every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without fail.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something really, really important about that. The whole idea of putting him first.
Yeah.
Surrendering your will to his will. Not
in the real situations, you don't know what that means.
That's right.
You don't know at all.
Yeah.
Still don't.
Yeah.
Right now. But the way I did it too, even just, to get more detailed about it, I would ask questions too. Well, okay, if this is meant to be closed, close it. Don't let them call me back. Don't give me an offer. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I didn't get an offer from them. And I was super disappointed. I'm like, I know what I can do. Why wouldn't I get an offer from them? But it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And then it did for the one place I was supposed to go to. And then as soon as I got the job with them, I did get an offer from the other place.
Yeah.
Almost as like, no, you were fine, but you're not meant to go there.
That's right.
And that firm closed up.
Yeah.
A few years later.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been a dead end for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just, you don't know.
In the moment, you don't know.
Yeah.
But when you look back,
correct,
you can see.
Easily.
Yeah.
And you got to remind yourself of that too.
Yeah.
And that was just that's on the professional side.
Yeah.
On the personal side, it was the same. Now you're going to a new area and you've got to create balance now of, okay, well, now I got to find a church and grow my spiritual life in my own way. There's nobody who's going to tell me how to do it. Now I got to go do it myself. And there's both of those happened congruently in parallel times.
Yeah.
That's happened every time as well. Professionally, there's an opportunity. But then in my life, there's always been this parallel tract of you're going to do something else for the church outside of your profession that is going to create relationships and opportunities as well.
Yeah.
They both have happened every time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an important principle.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's not a transaction. It's a process that you entered into a long time ago.
Yeah.
And as you're faithful with the little, you get more.
Sure.
And so I see that in your life so incredibly working. I mean, and I think it's something that it's not anything you can really take credit for, other than just at an early age of your life, you responded to God positively, and you just kept saying yes to God.
Yeah, I don't think I can take credit for any of this, but I would say too, like you mentioned like giving a little, but seeing a lot in return. My parents are models of that.
There you
Finances is especially one big one, where there was not a lot. They didn't make a lot at all. Kind of laughable, actually. I didn't know that at the time, but I did afterwards. But amazing. I never knew that at the time, how little they actually made. But it didn't matter. It wasn't a thing. It was one piece of an overall puzzle that was like, here, this whole thing is on God's plan, and they were great models to at least show, like, if you can live this life and give this back to God and let him run it. You're managing it, but he can run it. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So I at least had that. I had an example to go off of at a young age too, that showed me what that meant. But like anybody else, you have to learn that on your own.
Yeah.
I did when I went to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Finances too.
It's a process, right?
Yeah.
So you get to Dallas, you got this job with this amazing firm here in Dallas.
Yeah.
And why don't we pick it up there?
Sure. Yeah, the opportunity to Dallas came about 10 years ago, and it's same thing through a friend. He started the conversation, and Dallas was not on my radar at all. And then same thing. Every 4 years, I tried to intentionally pick my head up and be more intentional about praying about, am I in God's will or not? And if I'm not, I need to make a change. I was about 8 years in New Jersey and when this opportunity came up, and it wasn't on my radar, but I was open to it. And one conversation led to another, and for some reason, all the doors kept closing in New Jersey for the first time, and all the doors kept opening here, not knowing anybody here at all. And then decided to make the move, and it was for a job position for a much larger firm here in Dallas. So that was a transition. Literally, it's almost like a reset, start over, which not a lot of people understood. But that's okay. I mean, you could clearly see there were certain things happening in New Jersey that were doors closing, and these ones were opening. I didn't really know why, but if I prayed for it, I could see it. Like, all right, well, I guess we're going down this road now. So then I got to Dallas, and then that started my opportunity here with another firm, which eventually led to new relationships, and my wife started working for the same firm a few months before I did, which was wild. And then, I mean, it's all kind of led from one space to the next.
Yeah. And so you have this new job at this new firm, and now you got somebody you're working with that you're kind of interested in. How did all that come down?
It was a terrible idea. The joke is that she cut my Achilles, really, in order for us to hang out more. She was actually just next to me when I ruptured my Achilles. First month I get here, I don't know anybody really. We were in a gym playing racquetball with a whole bunch of people from the same place that we all worked together. There was like 8 of us or something. And she was actually in the court with me at that time. And when I ruptured my Achilles, I had no idea what happened. And she felt bad for me, so she started cooking for me. And we started hanging out. You don't know anybody, so you start hanging out with the people you're around. And man, at first I was totally against it. She was on my team, and I was like, man, this is
You're a boss. I
was like, this is a bad idea. I don't want to get you hurt or like have this look bad on both of us. I was like, just trying to be protective. So I thought it was coming from a good place. And then a couple months later, we didn't hang out less, we hung out more. And then she didn't know this, but it was in my head. I sat her down, I was all cordial about it. She was great. She took it perfectly. And then we were watching a movie in my apartment, and I just looked at her randomly, and I was like, why are we not dating? She's like, you remember a couple months ago when, you told me this is a terrible idea? She's like, yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong. This is definitely way better than I've ever had. So we started just between us dating, and then it kept getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
I knew within a couple months that was it. We're getting married.
Mm.
And so much so that I started to look for a place to purchase within the first year. And I told that realtor, her opinion matters. I'm not just bringing my girlfriend around to check it. I will be proposing to her. That was quick.
Yeah.
So it got, so I was older too. So at that time, I wasn't really interested in wasting time. If I knew that was it, then it was good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, you hit the jackpot on that, brother.
Oh yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been almost 8 years now. So
wow.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. I had her on an earlier podcast just talking about, she had cancer in her foot.
Yep.
And so for those who haven't seen it or haven't heard it, you need to look that one up, because what an amazing testimony that is.
She's never, ever got negative in that situation, ever. Her mind stayed the same. Even though her body went through a pretty incredible challenge, her mind and her testimony stayed rock solid. Time. Incredible.
Yeah.
Not everybody, even as I'm a witness, obviously, so I'm witness number one as the husband, but it's a difficult thing to watch your wife go through that.
Yeah.
Because at first I remember telling her too that I wish that happened to me, not you. You never want somebody like that to go through that. But looking back too, you can, regardless of the physical thing, the mind, the mental part of it is not easy.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have done it the same way that she did either.
Yeah.
And come out that strong.
Yeah.
So
she was rock solid.
Oh yeah.
And still is.
Oh yeah.
It's like, it's an
incredible.
adventure to her, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just pretty amazing.
She's motivated to keep going. I love that.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk to you about today is really about finances and how you handle them, particularly your giving and the tithe. All that seems, you got here, all that was in place in your life. I mean, you were very, very clear about all that. Why don't you just kind of share your philosophy, theology about it, your experience more than anything?
My parents set a good example on that one too. But that was another thing that I had to learn on my own. When I was in New Jersey, I was in a very familiar for a lot of young professionals situation where I thought that I kept a tab of what I owed in tithe, but I didn't pay it on time, and I was always catching up. But I paid my bills. I went out and had fun, like I had a car and all that kind of stuff. But I kept that tab, and it wasn't until I made the decision to remove that tab entirely and flip the priority that my situation changed financially in New Jersey. That was number one on the personal side. Then when I got to, that was always intact until I got to whether or not I was going to start my own business. And then I got challenged differently. So when I decided to, same thing, about 4 to 5 years in, started praying about what's the next step to truly do in God's will, and all the doors led to, I think you're going to start your own business. That was a process, but I was reluctant at first. But when I made that step and said, yep, we're going to do this, I got challenged again about what does that mean now tithe-wise? Okay, yeah, you tithe on your personal side, but now your situation's completely different. You're not necessarily, especially when you start, you're not always starting day one with a salary.
Right.
So what does that even mean? And then I got challenged further about on the business, do I tithe on the business or do I not? So when I first started, I left in November of 2019, started the business in January 2020. And then within a couple of months, COVID hits and changes everything. So what most people don't know is at the time, from January to March, I was praying a lot, and I felt challenged about this idea of tithing on the business. And I asked everybody. I asked my parents. I asked, I might have asked you too, like other pastors. I asked other Christian business owners what did they feel about it? People that were in the design industry too. Every one of them, without any question, said the exact same thing. You got to figure that out on your own. You got to pray about it. Your answer will get revealed. It's different for everybody. And it did happen. For me, it happened in a way where we got to a point in March where we hit the ground running in business. And then all of a sudden, this thing's in the back of my mind of what are we going to do tithe-wise? And then in March, everything shuts down, and I get one call after the next of every project goes on hold. So we went about 2 weeks without any work, 3 months in. And what nobody really knew at the time is in my mind, I'm not trying to panic, but it's just more of a situation where you don't know what's going to happen. Nobody did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still getting pinged about tithing. Why? Nothing's coming in right now. How's that even a possibility?
Mm-hmm.
Then I get a call, and it was for Highland Park Village, actually, one of our biggest clients.
Mm-hmm.
And they come through and they're actually, you know what? That small phase we were going to do this summer, what if this actually goes long-term, this shutdown? It's actually way more in our interest to knock out 3 or 4 phases in one shot, which is a lot more work, but we actually could get it all done in one time. It's way more efficient and more cost-effective for us to do this. We're thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a proposal for this if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
That for us, that alone was like 5 months worth of work right there. We didn't need anything else. That's humongous.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So for me, I'm looking at that, getting off the phone, being like, come on. If I was just praying about this, what is the next thing? And for me, I was like, I don't know if it's the right way to do this or not, but I was like, God, it was almost like you're making a deal. And I didn't really mean for it to be transactional, but you're like, God, if we get this, then I'll tithe. I'll tithe, no problem. But it happened. We gave that proposal. A week later, they came back and said, be on site tomorrow. We start construction.
Whoa.
We don't have any drawings, nothing. He's like, you got anything else to do? I'm like, nope. He's like, good. Be here tomorrow. We start. And it carried us for 5 months. That was just such a God move. It's no coincidence. There's no way. Since then, what I felt led to do is that 10% of everything that comes in, not the net, the gross. It comes in, it's all tithe. So, and that's what I've learned 5 years later now is that it's a little bit, for some, it might be easier to do when you have nothing and you're like, it's the last resort and it comes through. It actually becomes a little bit more challenging when you are more successful in some ways. You think like, oh, well, then when there's more money, it becomes easier. That's not true at all.
No.
It's because we have grown and we've gotten a lot more opportunities and our business has grown. It's been great. But you actually get more challenged with it when you are making more, I think, than when you have nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you look at that, that's a big check.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
We could do a lot of stuff with that.
Yeah. And what I keep getting reminded about each year is that's just one story of a dozen that are not coincidences.
Here's the key, and for me, whomever's listening on this, the tithe belongs to God. It's not yours or mine or anybody else's to decide. It's His.
Yeah.
And so if I will do with that tithe what He says to do with His money, then that makes me a steward that He can trust.
Right.
And if He can trust me with a little, then He can give me a lot.
Agree.
And it's just that simple.
It is. And what is interesting is if it's a hard lesson to learn for some. Yeah. Because you go through those grinds and you do finally get a break or something. It's another level. But I 100% agree with what you said. I think a lot of times the way I explain it to people is that I feel like, at least for me and my experience with all this stuff, it's not like all of a sudden the truck backs up and you've got a boatload of cash just waiting there. Right. It's not. It's been an incremental process. But anytime there's been a need, it's always come through. It's been met every time. Doesn't matter how big or how small either. Every time there's been a need, especially a financial one, it's been met every single time. Yeah. So the 10% thing, that's what I get reminded of now is don't change the formula. Like you said, it's simple. Don't change it, no matter how big you get. I truly believe like now the whole thing is that we're blessed in order to be a blessing to other things. And I don't even know where that wants to go yet, but we're open to it, wherever it does go. So whatever level of finances, income, whatever it is that we get blessed with, now I feel like you're right. You start growing maturely to a point where, okay, well, if I can manage this level, then what is the next level? And I don't think there is a cap on that. Yeah. I think what God orders, God provides for anything. So what I get excited about is that it's endless. There's no limit. Yeah. So it's hard not to get motivated about that.
That's it. You know, I heard years ago, Ross Perot, he had a company here in Dallas called EDS, which sold,
small.
Yeah. I mean, massive company. And he talked about, someone asked him what was the key to his personal wealth. And he said, well, there's 3 things. He said, number 1 is my wife and I decided we would never have any consumer debt. No car payments. I mean, mortgage is okay, but no credit card debt, no car payments,
Agreed.
nothing like that. No consumer. We just made that decision. Number two is we were not going to play the game of increasing the size of our house every 3 to 5 years. We're going to decide what level of lifestyle we want to live at and stop right there.
Yeah.
So whatever income level that meant, whatever house size of home, all that meant, that was our stopping. We're not going to keep paying ourselves more and more and more and more and more. And he said the third thing is we'd always give. We started out giving 10% to our church. He said when we got to 90% of what we were making, we were giving away, we're some of the wealthiest people on the planet.
Yeah. It's incredible.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
That does not make
It
sense.
doesn't.
Giving away 90% of his income and being the wealthiest among the wealthiest on the planet.
It's incredible.
And I don't know that he was particularly an evangelistic, evangelical Christian. He was a great Presbyterian, but he found that principle of the tithe, that principle in giving. There's hospitals in Dallas that are named after he and his wife. Amazing things that they accomplished because he decided he was going to be a good steward of God's money.
I think it's not like I'm perfect at this. I think that each year I've been challenged in a different way with it. Yeah. I think it's incrementally getting better, and I'm getting better and better at it, being obedient to it and not waiting. I think that's something I'll improve with because, like you said, there's a lot of business owners out there, a lot of people that probably do things much better than I do. But I think to make it real for people, it's no matter what level you're at, it becomes difficult to be extremely obedient about it, to be first. Yeah. Like not to wait until something comes in and then level up later or do it at the end of the year or something. But when you do it first, not knowing what the bottom line is, that's what I always get challenged with, making sure that you stay obedient and don't change the formula. Yeah. No matter what. Yeah. No matter what level of success you get to, don't change it.
Just keep the ship steady is what
that's right.
That's the way I say it.
And that's just on the finance side. I mean, I think another side of this too is you've always said that I appreciate this. This is one of the first, I think, messages or series that you preached on when I came here. It was Kings and Priests. And like we said in the beginning, I was never really forced or felt led to go into the ministry. But I did feel that there was a purpose. And I think that's what a lot of people are always looking for. I did. Mm-hmm. I just want a purpose. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go through every day that I'm just doing the mundane, a routine. Mm-hmm. It gets old after a while, or it gets boring. But the purpose, I feel like, is I do think it is tied to finances because it releases something, it unlocks something. But that purpose-filled life is when you know you're in that God's will, but you know you're supposed to be here, even if you don't know why. I know I'm here for a reason. And then you can start to look backwards and be like, oh, all these other things worked out. Mm-hmm. And I think you did a good job of at least reminding me in this first series of you can minister in your work and be a testimony no matter where you are. Because I did struggle in the Northeast of being a Christian in a work environment where there was zero. Yeah. There was it's different in Texas. Yeah. You can talk about God pretty openly here.
Yeah. That's why we love Texas. That's why we love it.
In Jersey and New York, that's not quite the case. Yeah. And it was okay. I got along with everybody fine. Mm-hmm. But I adapted, but it wasn't really me. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, when I came to Texas, I could be more open with everything. It was fine, accepted. But now, now that I have my own business, the bigger challenge is, well, how far are you going to take that? Just like finances or anything else. Yeah. How open are you going to be with unlocking your testimony and saying, well, this is who I am. Like I can't change it. Yeah. And you'd be surprised how many opportunities come through with relationships and conversations that have nothing to do with landscape architecture, but somehow just because you're open to talking with somebody, helping somebody out.
Yeah, you're living your life out loud and people are listening. Yeah. You know, they're watching, they're listening, and people are hurting. They don't have an answer. They don't know what to do.
We talk about this a lot where it's, like you said before, just trying to keep it simple. Yeah. If you can, on one side of the scale, if you can be better at what your work is, then you should. There's no answer there. Mm-hmm. You should absolutely keep trying to be better. On the other side of it, you've got to be aware of opportunities for relationships because you deal with people every day. Yeah. And you've got to be aware of the fact that that person's going through, they could be the president of a company. It doesn't really matter. They're going through things in life that have nothing to do with this, whatever you're talking about. And you can have a relationship there with them no matter what. Yeah. And everything else will work out. Mm-hmm. I can say that with confidence now. Yeah. Everything else will work out. You'll have work, you'll have stuff, you'll have the finances, they'll all be there for what you need. But just being aware of those relationships and how you have an effect on people.
Yeah.
That's probably the number one thing that comes to my mind.
And I just, the gap between where people are today, where people that may be listening to us today, where they are today and where they want to be, like live the kind of life you're living right now, that gap can only be covered by faith. You got to take a risk.
Oh yeah.
If you don't take a risk, you can't please God.
I agree, and that risk may fail.
That's right.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Hard. That was hard for me.
Yeah.
I did not want to fail out of the gate. I really didn't.
It's like, that toddler learning how to walk. They take a step or two and then stumble and fall. You don't go over there and say, you fell, or you fell. I mean,
No
you
more
ruined.
walking.
Don't ever try to walk again because you failed. No, they took a risk and they got out there. Well, they made one or two steps.
I mean, it was difficult to go through, but I mentioned that when we started, COVID hit. And I saw a lot of people close their doors. But I do feel like that was probably the right thing to happen for us. I got humbled through that. I had all these goals. And they were probably more for me than they were for God or what God's plan was. But I'm glad I got humbled. It's okay. And now I can look back and be like, oh, no, wait. There's a bigger thing going on here. We don't have to hit some of these goals. It's okay. There was a reason why that happened. I can appreciate that now at a different level.
Yeah. God is good.
Extremely.
And faithful.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. Really, this has been a thrilling conversation. Thank you, Mike. This is exactly what the kind of content I like, because I just feel like, we get in the middle of this, we get into a conversation, and the Holy Spirit just shows up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great things that we talked about today. If this is the kind of content that you like, that is encouraging to you, is helpful to you, then just hit like there or subscribe on our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you regularly as our guest. And Mike, thank you for being with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Let me pray for you.
Yeah.
Lord, I just lift up Mike and Liz, their whole team.
Amen.
Father, and I pray, Lord, that your favor would be multiplied towards them in an amazing way.
Thank you, God.
And Lord, you would continue to use them in powerful ways to encourage others and to see God's kingdom come and His will be done right here on earth like it is in heaven.
Amen.
I bless him now. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you, and thank you for joining us. See you next time on the God Seeker Podcast.